10 things you will not believe Hypnox is capable of. Permanently making you feel good to the point where you're almost drunk, but you're poisoned to the point where it's almost near retardation and you may not be able to heal back. Almost permanent retardation. 2, Hypnox could probably, well, no, not probably, can actually knock the light out of your whole entire existence. Not to say that you have to be plunged in darkness, and not to say that you have to actually go colorblind or suffer anything in that way. But when it happens, you realize that, holy shit, the physics of light is not there for me. And it'll be plain to see that I don't explain why that's suffering. If it ever happens. So, things only my enemies know. Can give you semi-immortality or anti-aging. Can cause aging. Semi-permanent or temporary paralysis within different quadrants or areas of the body. For the lack of a better word at the moment that I probably shouldn't say anyway. Stint your nutritional growth. Or inhibit your nutrients from going into your body or being processed. Causing and implanting different fates within the body to the point where it's visible on a physical level until you don't realize what he's not looking for at that moment as a pressure point. Cause new hair to grow and cause hair to deteriorate or to cease to grow in certain spots. But it won't look aesthetic or anything. It will very much look like your body wasn't dumping nutrients correctly or something. It's not like something like I should be working at a fucking hair place where they remove unwanted hair. Even though it could be like that, but I'm not willing to do that for something fun or something stupid like that. The alteration of dark matter and physical personal gravity. I can also adjust your permanent makeup sites. By which I mean I can make it look like you have makeup on when you're not wearing makeup. Hide fate and make certain things invisible. And also augment different shapes and forms in reality. But to a point where if you are conscious of life things and beliefs, it looks like blobs and blurs. If you don't, it will look more correct and seamless, but will still be somewhat visibly weird or wrong. It'll be like light has a vacuum to something wrong with water. It won't look correct. It'll look incorrect. And even other people that may or may not know, they see those things as heavenly things. It's actually something incorrect within the universe that shouldn't be seen in this dimension or exposed. Another thing I don't like to do, but I am capable of, and isn't what I consider my specialty, although I'm probably one of the few people that does it and knows how to do it, or either that or the other top people that I know that probably can or can get near the answer, don't do it or don't know how to enough to the point where I never noticed that many people that I know for a fact may be capable of it. But anyways, dark augmentation, black augmentation, night augmentation type of thing. The rest of the things on the list that are against fate, not things I should be proud of anyways, and still will start to fit in other different categories of black or dark magic that I don't really consider very optional at all and don't use at all. But I am very much expertise capable at those things to a certain extent. Most of those people have no respect for life. I'm intensely a nerd, so put it this way. The way you should feel about Orochimaru is how I was raised. So even when there's gangland mentality, it's not like all of our leaders were good people. So I save what I get as good things in rough places and call them diamonds. The rest of them look like sand, trivial bullshit to me, and the worst parts of the world. So I don't know. All of it looks like suffering for something to survive. So by the end of it, if you can't explain it, it's not like I have to own you. So I think there would be a few other things I'd have to say, but those aren't really things that I include as my powers or gambles. But life would be tricky if I used everything in my arsenal about what's really wrong with life. Now, also remember that I don't really do too many like magic tricks or crazy shit, but most of the time you'll have to understand that I come from a very aggressive, crazy type of a world when it comes to magic. So for us, it's either like you gambling on my life and you took a risk with all of us, or it was about something. And even by those points, like, as many people in life are watching out for tricks and gambles and straight out magic or violetness or anything like that, or vividity or some really disgusting bullshit to do with it, all of those things end up being so callous that what you're left in reality is what you're supposed to be able to do, or what you know to be able to do under the consideration of what's wrong with the world. So feats of humanity and things like that are requests for you to act or impose on life is not something you should take lightly or want to do. But every once in a while, yes, I do show off. Yes, I do expose that some magic is real. But the reason I don't standardly or reliably do magic all the fucking time is because it requires you to beg and offer the world and consider things or be complex and manipulative. And all of these things are not tools to play around with something. But, you know, there's always something in my hat bag that's better for the world than me trying to teach it how to feel good for 5 minutes and heal, because that's more important to me. You ever worked out for like maybe an hour or two and you can just tell your body isn't eating, and you know if you're going to eat something it's just going to ruin your whole cleansing exercise? I'd rather heal you and me than sit there and talk about how I figured out how to tap through jail cell walls until I found out who was the person cursing in the whole pod about something after they were talking about something honorable. You understand? I would rather just heal us, because the world is a stupid fucking place. So I take the people I can get, the other people that I can't explain what was wrong with fate and what I could give you was something I couldn't acknowledge at the time, because you needed to go live clean and I needed to not allude to the fact that the mistake would be permanent if I had said what was wrong with your gamble. So that's why often religion or heroism or what would I call that? Division, magic, dominion. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not altruism, but it's the magic word for altruism. But anyways, I can't give you those things. No, it wasn't endowment. So no, to the point, I can't give you those things unless the circumstance was so perfect that the question itself implies that I'm doing something that is questionable at all. So you couldn't even just really ask me. You'd almost have to like prep a situation that's good enough that Hypnox is likely to do the right thing, or why it always has to be a wrong thing. I don't fucking know. That's your fault, not my fault. But anyway, you know how people are. But that's just a piece of advice if you ever wanted to know that, like, life isn't just a bullshit lie. People don't just sit here and make it up just to hustle you. It really is like life has things to offer, but are you there for the right moment? Because we got like, let's explain it this way. We got 100 people that want to heal from diabetes, 100 people that want to heal from cancer. In those little small groups, maybe no one did anything wrong, or maybe it didn't have a suspicious reason or anything. Tried to fix all of them, maybe did some kind of a good job, hoped they were going to heal up, left them at a healing rate, and then went to go continue life and hoped it, or wrote them off as they were going to heal anyway, so that hopefully it would work out for their best luck. And in some cases it was curable, so we went the whole way, and they just kind of like can't really forget that they weren't sick. So even if it's like not sick, it's still kind of like, I don't remember being poisoned, I suffered that time, or, and that still is kind of like, I could never really say that I'm cured, so I wouldn't call them that. You see what I'm saying? Doesn't make sense? All right, so anyway, back to the furthermore point. While life is looking, or while we're working as good people, life does not like seeing nice people being taken advantage of. So even if we're sitting here and we're like trying to fix one person and we're desperately trying, or we're trying to like really like, null something there that isn't functionally or systematically correct, and it's almost visible, like most disease anyway, that it's visibly not even something that's actually wrong with them physically. There's something internally wrong with, like, it went wrong once and it's not healing the way it's always supposed to 100% heal. We are all Wolverine. We just don't know it, because there's actually something wrong in the environment, our food, a habit we have in most cases. So I don't know, just food for thought. We'll keep working at it. Some of this I put my ass on the line because, let's just say this, and I'm not looking for any room to blame. I just want you to know something. When I try to heal you, or when I try to use chi, or when I try to summon up some energy and it doesn't work, there's a lot of weird reasons why, because you have to take into consideration that it's not in the best interest for medical science. So it could just be some guy that's like, I've been working my whole entire life. I don't need to see some young 40-year-old man looking like he's 17 trying to heal someone. They just don't want to see it. It's just disgusting them. They did everything right, though, for what they're supposed to be legally advised in a world that isn't truly legal to be outlawless. You'd almost have to be free range to understand how to heal this way, or like why you fell asleep one day and all your stuff healed. You'd have to almost be free range to live that way. You can't live in a system at all to not understand what's actually going on, because some days you're not going to be eating a certain type of salad, but you've been eating all that stuff your whole entire life, or doing all those things your whole entire life. So the non-part of that, you'll never view the correct answer, because you'll never view the correct mistake, because it's been all manufactured. So you're manufactured for what they have, not what we need or want, what they have. So that's called survival. So you can't depend upon them to always have certain answers. So it's a legality that they can only get you up to a certain point. And of course, go see doctors and do normal things and all that bullshit. But it's just kind of like, if you're looking for more answers and you have to actually like, fix yourself and come up with an answer, because there is no fucking answer, I recommend that you be open-minded to how many different things that you have to do. Not just spend a bunch of money on some guy, because I don't charge nobody nothing. If you can magically heal and do all these things, why the fuck would I really be in a hurry to charge you money? Wouldn't I just come up with something else like, if it worked for you, please donate? I would be saying something like that, because then it's like, the more I do to prove to them that life is good, the more money that I potentially make from not making a bunch of mistakes. The more money I make out of like, oh, they eventually died from the medication and not the cure, the disease itself. The cure eventually killed them. What the fuck? That's called making money. That's called profit. So, no, it's not supposed to be like that. And it's supposed to be something wondrous. Like, wouldn't it be like awesome and a miracle and a blessing if you could do something for somebody? That's what that feels like. That's what you're going for. That's all we know. Now go look at anything else where like this all makes sense for other people to get better, or for someone to do anything nice for you in this economy, in this corporatocracy, in this capitalism, in any of these things. Does it fucking make sense to do you a fucking favor? To take the time out of my day to do you a fucking favor? No, it doesn't. So, you have to either be a good person, you have to know the common sense, and you have to re-rationalize yourself to like, we really grew up that way. We really grew up in the motherfucking system. So when you're like not thinking like the system, you're like, why is the world wrong? And it feels like I'm getting my ass kicked. You were probably trying to do something good for the world. And trust me, the world does not want your fucking help. It doesn't want Hypnox's help at all either. Trust me. But it's like one of those things in life where you learn that like, if you apply pressure to the wound, it heals, right? But it's the other person who's victim at that time does not want you to hold their wound. That's a very unnatural, awkward thing to do that you've learned to do, which is a good thing. What are you doing, man? Stop touching my foot. No. Weird ass motherfucker. So it's a very unnatural thing that they have learned to do. So you still know to cover up the fucking wound, or to, heal it, or use your hand to cover it up to keep it from bleeding out. But by the end of it, you wish them well. If you don't wish them well, it's just as bad as like, oh, magic isn't real. Okay, no problem. Just remember, when they're cooking your food, I hope they're in a good mood, because it's not like they only spit in it or whatever. So, like either it was money, the institution, or no one can really find out a reason why. They are just mad at life. And it's just very awkward. So just remember, the world is a very weird place. And also, the last thing I want to say as a minor note, what is with the world? Like, whether you're intellectual, smart, strong or not, and have all these crazy answers, or some very simple, basic answers that you can't come up with for something that they do as a stupid, irrational thing that is their actual problem, because they can't grow past that stupid, irrational thing that they do. So, what the real comment that I have to say here is, why do you always want a strong, overlord, fucking tyranny, fucking terrorist, strong, fucking tyranny answer from somebody who has magic and power? Because I know that might make more sense, but don't you think if I was secure in a lot of good or weird ways or magical ways, or if it seemed endless in some other ways, which, there is ways to cheat the system for stuff, but let's just put it this way, with what I have as tools that you don't know about and it just seems too beautiful and magical, yeah, it seems like too much work for what I want. Like, it's just too much work. Now, let's say you could, like, reach through a bank vault and walk through a fucking, 12-foot wall or some shit of metal. Let's say you could do that. What if Hypnox just puts a quarter inside the metal, or inside or behind on the other side of the fucking metal wall, and then is attracted somehow to the quarter and goes through the metal or something like that? Or the let's put it this way, the quarter was more important than how I got through the metal, but because of that technique I could get through this metal. Now, given that, it's not interesting, because what implies everything else about, oh, that's cool, if you get away with the crime, none of the other problems are worth a damn. First off, as soon as you're done, where are you going to sell all of it? What's it really worth to you? How much can you carry? Does objects think like you? Are you able to carry it through the other side? And even if you could, or blah, 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 which you kind of can, but it's still an extra technique. So even if you could, you would still have to deal with the fact of all of this stuff is now worth, like, let's say gold bars are worth gold bars. Now, all the gold that you stole is worth rewriting, breaking down, or using in some materials. Some of it's going to be scrap, some of it's going to be waste, and then by the end of it, you're really stuck with, now you're not selling gold, you're selling watches, you're selling apparel, you're selling very simple, basic things that you had to make out of the gold. Or, gold's more valuable before it's made, but, like, how can you get anyone really to buy that much gold or anything worth a damn? So, and what's wrong with money, other than that, what's not wrong with money. So secretly, I don't check that often either, type of thing. But it's just one of those things in life where I wanted to parallel what you mean and I mean, and what other people are thinking, and what life is so weird and funny about, or why you can't trust magic, or why magic is stable up to a certain point and the rest of it is questionable. That's why I don't offer that much, except for, like, we should all heal, like, instantly, Wolverine style, where we should be able to live this good life, because not that many things are against us and want a life from us too. So if that's the case, shouldn't we be what the universe is capable of in a lot of ways, even down to the most basic human being? I wouldn't care if they all had Wolverine's powers, except for the claws we probably don't need. We'd probably have to earn those, but other than that, yeah, we all should be Wolverine. Up to a certain extent, probably because of evil people, if nothing else. So anyway, back to the feudal point. So it goes back to the point that you meet a man on the mountain. You meet the man at the end of the computer matrix, like growing new fruit and plants. And he saw the whole thing. You were talking about technology. He saw all of that. He knew how fun it was. He knew how much money was in everything else. And still chose to go and settle out in the woods and see why plants and all this other like weird nature shit is kind of amazing, or can do much more for mankind than what I think is their complete witches. So you meet that man or the man on the mountain or all these different types of great people. You perused past them like a comic book and you didn't realize the wiser, or you said something and didn't even know it. And you hit a nail on the head, but not quite the right one where they could respond to you. What the fuck is with all of that and then asking me for some kind of fucking slavery or tyranny to someone else's philosophical crap? And it's not even philosophical, it's like just horrible shit. Like, you know, like why you just want a shitty world of people who use excessive force and like, see, even with magic, but just are really just the wrong people for the management position of what security is for you know, socialistic endeavors. And even if, don't use me, I'm still too much of a nerd, but it's just like weird because the number one request is like, you've climbed up to the mountain and passed all the most beautiful paradises in the world and everything that you could have seen, and still had the nerve to be a type of human being that wanted to ask the other random, like let's say you met a genie or some shit, or a seraphim, or a djinn, or some shit. You accidentally asked him for the strongest, like, normal human weapon, or a strong, good weapon, probably the strongest normal weapon in the world. And it was able to give you that type of thing, but you asked like that was the only thing left in life, and you could have asked him for anything. You know how scary that is? Like, we're talking about like you know, the power to destroy all plant life or something, or to destroy you know, or to destroy that they'll never be able to reproduce any human continuance from every story as a bad story. Like, you wish for like the worst things in the world, and I'm like, you could have asked them for anything. You could even, like, you know, asked for like a cloud full of money, and then it just only rains when you go down so you can pick it up and then walk into any store that you wanted. You could have like said some weird random, like, you know, sounding human paradise shit, and you didn't. You just said some real evil, like, naughty shit. I don't know how to deal with it sometimes, because I just kind of like, God damn it, I love doing human beings a favor, but like their random thoughts aren't usually like stuff that I can just, like, you know, work with or whatever at all. And I'm talking about, like, I don't tell them this or anything. So secretly, I just wanted you to know, like, if you've ever been in the position to be any of these things, or a mystic, and everybody's like doing weird shit, and even for a mystic, it's like, could you imagine, even if you were capable of making nice, like, you know, imbued fucking swords or something like that could spark and flow away all this weird energy and shit. Could you imagine if, like, what you got is that I think flowers like being plot, or like they go that far and every accident is so wrong for a mystic. Like, I think demons probably want to make more money than us with us so we can all be rich or something. I don't know what it is, but I get the dumbest shit. And even it's like, does God watch me watch this and laugh or something? Because sometimes it's just like one of them things where, like, it's got to be some kind of sick joke. And then I look at some of the other ones and where they get stuck with and shit. It's like, you might think, oh, wow, they're too young to be any of these things. You're somewhat right. You're somewhat not right. But when I can't explain how wisdom works. Some kids just kind of know. But like, or they don't change into what the world kind of slowly makes you, and then forget everything that you were born with. So anyway, or walking into that sphere and then being given the world. I'm one of those victims. But anyways, let's get back into the other realm of things. The other few hear so much random shit like that if you ever got a genie and you could wish for a bunch of money, a house, and then like a really nice infinite car, and then just be set. The three things makes normal human sense. But when by the time you met a genie and accidentally like thought you're wild as shit or something, what is with most men or most human beings, even so a lot of women, wishing for a weapon so good that they could just control the world? I get tired of that shit. Remember, I'm just a mystic. We're not even on the strongest side of what people can do with magic. We're just good communicators with the afterlife or the great beyond. But what's left for that is how you gamble. That is kind of a power, and it does give you some decree to act like a demon if you wanted to. But of course, I spend a lot of time not doing that and preferring to be a mystic or a shaman. Of course, these words have no root and meaning to what I'm supposed to give society or offer society. I'm not doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because I got stuck in a weird position and I realized there's only a few ways out of that. So, whatever. It's just one of them things where like they like you for the wrong reasons, so you have to give them what they don't know or understand about you and life, or why you're just very like that, or whatever the fuck. So I don't know, but the world being attracted to you in a good way doesn't always work out in like a overall sort. It'd be like, wow, y'all done got confused about why you like me, and you just remember that you like, candy, food, arousal, and new clothes. And that's just kind of what happened, instead of all the intellectual points that, oh wow, I remember now he was a mystic, or I remember now he was into the divine honoring of fate. And that's how I learned these weird things that made me like him. But then I forgot with all the clothes and the fucking fun things and then the snacks and the dessert, which you're not supposed to forget, but I forgive them. And of course you were calm and happy. That's all I give a shit about. Everybody happy. But then when it comes back down to it, like some of them done forgot what the fuck I was or worth to them. And I'm just kind of like, you have a nap, read a book, or here's some other things that might get you back to what you don't remember about me. So anyway, whatever. Well, I gave them some lolly candy. What was I supposed to do? The only thing was on the list that was left is that everybody wanted to go and be comfortable with their own personal euphemisms for life, which includes their orientation. So back to normal, went to some binary kids, got fixed myself, tried to compliment the emos and the goths, and got out of there with my urbanism. And you know why we all get along and why it's a new generation that won't have to worry about that kind of crap. But whatever. And then there's alternative and the rocksters or the rockers or whatever the fuck, and we out of here. And I think that's about it. Oh, and go pay Wicked a visit and buy some books on the way out, or some really cool like apparel and random ornaments and spell shit. Sometimes they pay off. Sometimes it gives me an excuse to pass luck through the world. It's kind of like we get to a point sometimes where I can offer a magical balance to the universe and the cosmos, but it's kind of like everyone who doesn't own a Zycon or a fucking like unicorn crystal or quartz crystal or anything like that at the time isn't eligible to go pick up some incense, and then figure out when those two things cross paths in your life, I could give them a fortune or something that is virtuous and meant something at the time, and leave that article in the middle of fate, and then eventually those good people get their fortune. Since nobody else is willing to put rose petals or little pebbles inside, little like beautiful spell pebbles and herbs in a bowl and just leave it there, I'll never get caught up to putting why I was like, hey, that smell is illuminating. I see a non-universe through this weird crystal ball. And then I throw some sand in the fucking air, and then I leave some fucking object in the middle of nowhere. A nice, beautiful, normal object. And then later on they find it through normal means, or somehow it just arrives. Sometimes it was weird to watch its journey from other people telling me like, oh, no, it ended up in the thrift store. Nah, then it went to Albertine. Then it went into a weird like fucking antiquity shop. Then this old lady bought it. And then I realized that that old lady wasn't supposed to get it, but that's the same old lady that left some glasses inside of a store. And then when I went asking for them, they gave those glasses to me, and then I said, no, these aren't it. And then they said, you can just have them anyway, since we were about to throw them away. And they turned out to be the right prescription for me. Now, even I'm not mad, but you know that's kind of suspicious of life, right? So you can see how life can barter with things. So always be a little bit suspicious, take care of yourself. But I know how to walk a woman's fate a little bit, so I knew why I wasn't in trouble. So you just have to pass some good luck there, and that's the beginning of the end of that small journey, and how weird life is to even own what you consider trust if you know what the word I'm looking for, karma is, and then continue forward. Because that would be falling into the class of karma, and I already had some good karma from that, or I was giving good karma from that. So I hadn't thought about anything bad, nothing bad there. And then, I went on to the next good traverse, and it happened to work out. But if you get any random bad luck or a bad sign, or someone else got some bad funky shit before you went and picked up something else, it's probably not a good thing. So I don't know, just, while you're being a hipster, some of this shit is real, some of this shit isn't. Don't be afraid to be positive with Hypnox or to share your negativity, because by the end of it, I want to know if the world isn't rewarding you correct, because even while I'm making my journey, I can alter a little bit on how I behave and make the world or life consider a better option for all of us, while we're the only ones being good and leaving good behind us as we go forward. It's not like I would have to leave a trap or negativity. It would just be like, okay, now I can only drop off these incense at different stores that don't act so fucking snobby. You see what I'm saying? Little shit like that. That's why it's good to keep the karma up. Go emos, go goths, seeing what y'all doing, respect it. I'm going back to urban, no fucking big instances, and so on and so forth. They're like, the other kids and shit, I love them. They're good. And they're smart and cool as shit. I just can't bring them urban drama. So, I go into my corner, and I'm just sitting there as soon as the urban drama comes up, I gotta fence this down to us all being cool and shit. I like it cool and calm, or I can't be friends with them. They kind of not warmongers all the time. They can handle all that shit. They know how to rock on. They know how to be hard style. They got some Pantera in there. I'm just saying that I don't like bringing them no fucking drama. So, whatever. And they probably gonna make y'all feel like shit anyway. So it's not like that, but you know what I mean, like drama. So I don't keep up in the motherfucking drama. Or I fucking isolate it and they get all upset because they want to throw a tantrum to having to be cool for 5 fucking minutes and just chill. It's not like I want them to get away with the crime, but we can still have some diplomacy before you figure out why the fuck we all gotta be a tyrant or a warmongering asshole. And every time you ask me to make a purposeful mistake, just go over there and slap him, I consider these things, but it's one of them things where every time you ask me to make a mistake, it's like you're forcing me to have to relive doing something bad for us when I already know that I love you, so why would I say no? As a brother. I'm not talking about the girl, I'm talking about as a brother. And then it gets back to but I remember 2 weeks ago you made me hug your ugly. So why am I going to argue with you and then go fight for you and then we going back to what? Being friends? No, I can see my odds out on that. So that's why I often not drama. You leave me with a lot of odds out. If you want me to fight for you, you be good. Make sure I have no excuses. Then it's just kind of you bothered this innocent person, let's go wreck their ass. Then I got no choice. We got to honor this person. This person was a good, normal soul. And as you hear the speech slowly wander away, and they still talking about a bunch of prophetic, chromatic shit. Also, if you saw something good, encourage the world to keep it up within fate, because they get depressed and their negativity seems empty and nothing as positivity is not encouraged. So they have no incentive